Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about imposter syndrome, which is a very deep topic, but I try to cover a little bit of it based on the research and the knowledge that I have. Obviously, I'm not an expert on this topic, but I want to deep dive in the future. But for now, I want to just address and touch the topic and see if anyone from my subscriber or watching this video has experienced it, and also how are they navigating it. So I'm a little curious and see how people react to it. So first, let me read the definition that I got from the research paper I was reading. So imposter syndrome often show up as a self-doubt. You might catch yourself thinking things like, I don't belong here, I'm not as capable as people think I am, and also others are better than me. So some thoughts like that. Even after achieving something, you might downplay it or feel like it doesn't really count. It's more common than we realize, especially in places where expectations are high. So most people face like this imposter syndrome at least at some point of their life, and with high expectation feels and with very like intensive fields, it's even higher. People with like doing research, graduate students, researchers, scientists, software engineers, a lot of people face this issue, and it's really common than people realize it. Sometimes you feel like that, but you don't know how to spot it. So luckily, I've got myself having this one, so I was really interested in this topic. And I also want to talk about like why it happens, like to cover. So the research that I did, it was talking about like two cases. So people might be like, the two cases that she was talking about was people grow up in high expectation. For example, being compared with siblings. Oh, your sibling is better than you are. Then they always think about like, okay, I'm not good enough. My other people are always better than me. So one can be that way, or another one could be you're always doing good. You always can achieve whatever you're doing. Then they go with that expectation, and when they go out in the real world, sometimes things doesn't go as they're been achieving it until high school. Then it would be like a total new world, finding out things always not doesn't go the way they planned it, or they might not be succeeding. So that might be a cause for some cases. But in general, there are like three major cases. Setting the bar too high for yourself, expectation. If your expectation is too high of yourself, I should reach here, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or I'm feeling behind. Such cases might cause some of it. The other categorized as comparing yourself to others. So maybe like your age groups are advancing in certain fields, or they're doing ABCD, but you feel like you're not doing, but you don't know what they're behind the scene or how they deal with their situation. But just by seeing the display, you feel like threatened, or I feel behind, or they're always better than me, something like that. So comparing is the second one. The third one is like trying your whole sense of worth to one role. For example, if you're tied to one career, like no community work or just career wise only, the reward is coming only from career. So if you don't get that approval at workplace, you feel like, oh, I'm not really good on one thing that I have in my life going, that's not even working. So that's another one. So I'm trying to see my notes. Yeah, so one of the research that I did actually was saying single and unmarried people feel a lot imposter syndrome than married with kids or people who has kids, because certain level of affirmation or acknowledgement of outside coming from their partner or their kids are looking in their parent and say, oh my god, you're really doing good, then that affirmation gives them courage and be aggressive, be more less feeling of imposter syndrome. So it was saying that one, that was an interesting take. So I want to talk about now how to deal with it, with the experience that I have in the things I got here, combining. So the first is acknowledging it or name it. So whenever you find yourself having doubts, it's like, oh, I don't belong here, or I feel like whatever I makes me reach here was luck or was not hard work, acknowledge that and say, oh, this is imposter syndrome talking. I belong here. I work so hard to be able to be in this spot, and my hard work is also contributed for this role, right? The first one is that one. Second one is reframe success. Instead of calling it luck, remind yourself you worked for it. And whenever there is that thought is coming, remember that, okay, I work for it, I passed this interview, I study for this certification, or I get this grade to deserve this, whatever. Or for example, if there's a task you complete it on time, I complete this on time and there is no error on it, stuff like that. So reframe success. The third one is keep track of wins. So it says write down achievement, both big and small, so you can see your progress. So if you write, this one I try to, but I'm not really good yet. Try writing, or if someone give you good comment or mention you helped me do this, write that one. And whenever you feel self-doubt, read back to those notes and see there was at some part of my care, I did this to have this. Obviously, I'm covering this part in the care perspective. The personal side of it might be different. I'm not sure, but I'm covering the care aspect of it because that's where my struggles are. Another one is, so this is for talk to someone. Share these feelings, make you realize you're not the only one. So talking out loud with friends, communicating, have having open discussion, of course, with the people you trust, and they don't take advantage of you or taking this information in like and not in a good way. So you have to make sure it's a safe space and people are really have good intention when talking about such things. But when you talk about such things, you might hear they also have imposter syndrome, then you feel less alone. Or they will pass it already and they will give you pointers, or for me to deal with such kind of situations, I do ABCD. So if it works for you, you will take it. If not, at least it's a good place to vent or say it out loud. Sometimes when you say something out loud, you're like, okay, this really doesn't make sense, or this makes sense. So it gives you that space to understand yourself better when you explain the situation to other people, and also to give feedback so that you can somehow try to work on it and, if possible, eliminate or remove and be free from this something that can hold you back. So another one is like set small goals. Breaking things down makes progress easier to see. So this is so interesting. I remember 2022, I had so many goals about like certification. I have, I think, three certification and other things I want to do in 1 year. And I tried one certificate, I failed, and I got discouraged, and none of them happens, right? So it took me 2 years to go back, almost 3 years, I think. So to go back. So if the goal is really too high, sometimes it's good to aim for the sky, but it has to be manageable chunks and it has to be like bite size. Otherwise, it would be overwhelming and we might not even do it. So this is like set small goals, achievable. Like have bigger and small one, but make sure it's like to be biteable size. So it will build out in to give that dopamine or that gratification of like, oh, I achieved this one, so now I can go to the next one kind of thing. It could build up instead of having a big, you don't even know where to start from kind of goal. Another one is embrace mistakes. They're part of learning, not proof you don't belong. So, for example, if I take the example that I said, I failed the exam, instead of completely got discouraged, oh, this is part of the journey. If I fail this one, on the next one, at least I have experience how things are working, see the exam, what works this time, what doesn't work, how can I study better for the next one, do sample exams, get all the constructive feedback and apply them for the next one instead of like discouraged and like removing or say, oh, these exams are not for me or I don't belong here in this community, something like that. So try to see failures or mistakes as a stepping stone. I know it's like hard, it's easy to say, but it's hard in real world. But try to remember and try to do that in everyday life. So mistakes get better, then practice will eventually makes progress. Okay. Another one is 7 is find mentors. Others have felt this way too, and hearing their stories helps. So if someone with such experience is our mentor, at least they know how to guide us. I know imposter syndrome has different forms, but at least it's better to work with someone who already have an experience and deal with it than who the person doesn't really believe it even exists. And yeah, another one is the 8 is stay balanced. Hobbies, friends, and community remind you that you're more than just work. So if you have like community, giving back to community, so that you feel like, oh, these people are relying on me, so I have to be somehow. When you try to teach someone or try to lead someone, you be like, okay, they are relying on me, I must have something, or they must be benefiting from me. So I feel like I have another accomplishment other than just work in my manager feedback. So if it's I'm helping, I'm having other hobbies, my life will be somehow fulfilled and I would be less imposter. I don't know how this one really works, but the community part, the hobby, I don't know, but the community in the friends one will make you grounded because now there are people who's really depending on you. But technically, you might feel like, oh, I don't know why they're depending on me. I'm not really that good. You might still feel like imposter syndrome for this one. But I guess when people are relying and they're expecting and they trust you, you feel like, oh. I need to I need to be better. And it makes, I don't know how this one exactly is actually. The last one is good. Number nine is good. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself the way you would encourage of your friend. If your friend is coming and say, "Oh, I feel like I don't belong here," or "I feel like I am not good enough," or "I got here by luck," you be like, "Oh no, you work so hard. I saw you. You put this one, the effort, everything, and you deserve this one." That's, you be easy on them. So try to apply that logic and assume yourself like a friend, and whatever you're saying, give a comment on that, and you be less hard on yourself. So that's actually a good one, because we tend to be easier on other people and try to give excuse for other people than ourselves, which is really not fair for us, because how can you be so sure for other people but you're not acknowledging your own effort in disregarding of the hard work? Of course, luck has parts. Of course, prayer has parts, and everything happens when the addition of all this. But disregarding your hard work or consistency, grit, or everything who leads you to that position is not fair. You usually tend to be easier for other people. So, yeah, this is my take so far. I'm still navigating this journey, and I really want to know if anyone have experienced imposter syndrome or not at all, or you might not believe if that's a thing too. So, which is fine. So yeah, please let me know in the comment section. I would really love to know about it and hopefully do more research. Hopefully next time I'll be more organized. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.